Hi everyone, I'm Skyler Ellenburg, and I'm super excited to be a part of the HOBY Kansas staff this year as a facilitator. I am originally from the Mid-Florida site. I was an ambassador there in 2012, and then volunteered as a junior staff member for 3 years, on the program team for 3 years, and I'm the director of special services, dabbling in a few different things to advance our site. But I also went to the HOBY Training Institute in 2017 and 2018, and I met a couple of HOBY Kansas staff there who convinced me that you have an amazing seminar, so I'm really excited to experience it and help change the lives of these ambassadors. So a couple more things about me. I'm a computer programmer by day and a girls' youth soccer coach by night, and I love hip-hop and cooking, comedy, and puzzles. So my video topic is how to intertwine the curriculum into your group time, so how to use the HOBY program as a guide when you're guiding questions in group time, maybe during dull moments, because a lot of times the conversation can happen organically, but sometimes you need to pick up from somewhere. So I'm hoping to give you a few question ideas to inspire you of how to guide your questions through the different phases. So as a refresher, or for those who don't know, HOBY has 3 phases to the program. There's personal leadership, group leadership, and societal leadership. And personal leadership is the personality inventory, true colors, to kind of figure out who you are as a leader, who you are as a person, where you came from. And then group leadership is where you figure out your role in a group. I know you all have how to start a movement, so how to motivate people in a group, how to make it work as a team. And then lastly, societal leadership, so that's the service project, thinking about societal issues, discussing them, and figuring out your role in society and how you can help change it ultimately at the end of the seminar. So the program definitely means a lot to me as somebody who's been on the program team planning activities, and so I think as facilitators we can be very intentional with how we guide these questions. I first, as a default, when we're in doubt, we can always use the reflection questions that are already planned by the program team, whether they send them in advance or just the ones they use during the seminar. Because, for instance, there will be a time when somebody in your group or nobody in your group responds to a certain question. Maybe they were feeling shy that moment, or they couldn't think of an answer at that time, but now after hearing everyone else reflect during reflections, they can think of something else to say, something to contribute to discussion. So that's a great time. If you notice that nobody has spoken during a certain reflection, then you can bring that up in group time, write that down, and use those reflection questions. But if you would like to go beyond that and think of your own and be more creative, you can always, during activities, if you notice your group reacting a certain way or not reacting a certain way, write it down and keep in mind those phases of, okay, we're in personal, I see them perk up their ears about where they came from, or somebody about their identity. And so I might bring that up so they can maybe talk about that in our group discussion later. So I do have some examples for each phase of questions that I thought of, and I'm sure we could all think of more during the seminar especially, and worst case, you can always ask your program team because I'm sure they have a lot of insight on this. But so for personal leadership, a good example of a question would be, beyond just the personality inventory and true colors, you could talk about their culture. So whether it's Midwestern culture or their religion, their high school, their town they're from, how would they describe their culture to somebody from a different city or state or country? Because a lot of times we don't think we have a culture until we're outside of our comfort zone. And so having them think about what their culture would be in that context. For group leadership, the second section, you can talk about their role in a group, but extend it to, in order to get to where they want to be in life, do they like the role they have in a group, or would they like to extend it in some other way, get out of their comfort zone? An example of this is, I learned at my HOBY seminar that I don't have to always be the vocal person, the first person to step up in a group, especially verbally. I could be more passive, use my verbal skills to empower other people in the group rather than just verbalize my ideas. And so that was something that HOBY planted the seed for me, and that's a discussion you can have where what are your goals and how can your interactions and your role in a group change. Lastly, for societal, an example would be you can talk about if you had no limitations, unlimited resources, what would you change in your society and how would you try to do it? And so this would be a good chance for them to think about how they can change their community or what issues need to be addressed, but without limitations, and with that inspiration to where maybe they could get inspired to decide to do it if everybody else in the group communicates it and it seems realistic. So that's a good discussion. Another one would be how do you feel in society you are maybe less educated in a certain topic or ignorant, maybe, whether it's something about religion or the environment or politics, something you don't know as much about that you'd like to know more about, and that makes you feel vulnerable in discussion. Because this could be a chance where somebody in the group could step up and say, hey, I do know a lot about that. I like to research that or watch YouTube videos about that, and I've learned a lot. We could talk about it. And so different members of the group who have different perspectives can communicate, and everybody gets out of it a little more than just learning about each other. They learn about other issues around the world, and that can stem from the ice cream simulation and other activities like that, or speakers. So I don't want to go on forever, but I could because the program's really fun. But those are some examples that I thought of for different questions you could ask that go beyond the standard. And again, I'm really excited to see how HOBY Kansas does the program, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a ton. So I can't wait to be a part of it and help impact these ambassadors with all of you. But thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to meeting a bunch of you, and I can't wait for the seminar. Thanks.